day of rage. Protests continue as U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital angers Palestinians and provokes a global reaction. A demonstrator holds a Palestinian flag during clashes with Israeli troops at a protest against U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, near the Jewish settlement of Beit, near the West Bank city of Ramallah, December 9, 2017. Reuters. Palestinian President Mahmud Abbas will refuse to meet U.S. Vice President Mike Pence later this month following Washington's controversial policy shift on Jerusalem, an aide said on Saturday, as protests gripped the Palestinian territories. Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza Strip killed at least 2 people and wounded at least 25 others, including women and children, as protests continued over U.S. President Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital on Wednesday. At least 4 people have been killed and dozens wounded since Trump announced the move, which drew criticism from every other UN Security Council member at an emergency meeting on Friday. Protests continued illegally occupied East Jerusalem and other parts of illegally occupied West Bank and Gaza Strip as Israeli police used live ammunition, rubber-coated steel bullets and tear gas to disperse demonstrators. TRT World's Yolo Abdava reports from Palestine's capital of East Jerusalem. Pence unwelcome. There will be no meeting with the Vice President of America in Palestine, Abbas diplomatic advisor Majdi al-Kalbi said. The United States has crossed all the red lines with the Jerusalem decision. Egypt's Coptic Pope Tawadros II also cancelled a meeting with Pence, with the church saying it declines to receive him in protest at Trump's announcement, which failed to take into account the feelings of millions of Arabs. On Friday, Ahmed Al-Tayeb, who heads Al-Azhar, Egypt's top Sunni Muslim institution, also scrapped plans to meet Pence over the unjust and unfair American decision on Jerusalem. Fresh protests. There were fresh clashes on the second day in the occupied East Jerusalem, occupied West Bank and Gaza Strip as Palestinian protesters came out to voice their anger over Trump's announcement. Police used almost all means to suppress protests, including arresting the demonstrators. TRT World spoke to Ramallah-based journalist Mahmud Al-Ami. Gaza mourners vented their anger at the funerals of 2 people killed during clashes at the border fence on Friday and 2 Hamas members killed early on Saturday. Police said they arrested 2 young men from the Israeli Arab town of Arara. The Palestinian Red Crescent said 171 people were hurt in the occupied West Bank and 60 in Gaza Saturday, with injuries ranging from gunshot wounds to tear gas inhalation and being beaten by Israeli security forces. In illegally occupied East Jerusalem, police fired stun grenades to disperse Palestinian demonstrators on the main Salahiddin Street. An Israeli police statement said 4 policemen were slightly injured and 13 protesters arrested. The Red Crescent said 12 Palestinians were injured by shrapnel from grenades or by blows from police. Israeli border police officers detained a protester during a demonstration in a street in East Jerusalem on December 9, 2017. Reuters. Third Intifada. There have been fears of a much larger escalation of violence after Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh called for a new Palestinian Intifada, or uprising. Hamas and other Islamic groups renewed those calls on Saturday. Abbas' Fatah organization urged Palestinians to keep up confrontation and broaden it to all points where the Israeli army is present in the West Bank. Dozens of protesters were wounded by rubber bullets or live fire in clashes in the West Bank, Gaza and Jerusalem that followed Friday's main weekly Muslim prayers. Tens of thousands also protested in Muslim and Arab countries, including Jordan, Turkey, Pakistan and Malaysia. Saturday's pre-dawn airstrike on a base of Hamas in Nusayrat in the central Gaza Strip was one of several, the Israeli military said. It said aircraft targeted 4 facilities belonging to the Hamas a day after what the military said 3 rocket attacks from the Palestinian enclave into southern Israel. 1 rocket hit the southern Israeli town of Darrow, although public radio said it did not explode and did not cause any casualties. Israel had already responded on Friday with airstrikes which the Gaza Health Ministry said wounded 25 people, including women and children. The Hamas Health Ministry in Gaza said the 2 men killed on Saturday were in the movement's armed wing, which has fought 3 wars with Israel since 2008. Source: TRT World.